Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over my Hemlock and Oak Weekly Minimalist Planner. That's a mouthful. As you guys know, I use the Passion Planner for years for all my, functional planning needs, but I really wanted to try the Hemlock and Oak Planner this year. I would say for the most part, the transition has been pretty smooth. Everything the Passion Planner had, the Hemlock and Oak Planner has, with more flexibility, which is exactly what I was looking for. Now, there are some things that I thought I was gonna do in the Hemlock and Oak Planner when I first started, but it kind of turns out I don't really want to, or it's not really working for me. And I do think the months of January and February are really there for you to kind of figure that out. Experiment a little bit and see what works for you to make you feel more solid and more, like you could put it in as a part of your routine for the rest of the year. I feel like I'm going to stick with this planner for the rest of the year pretty solidly. I really like the way it looks, the way it's functioning for me, and I want to share some of that with you today. Let me know if you are also using this planner and how you are using it, maybe differently or the same as me. I want to start off with how my transition from the Passion Planner to the Hemlock and Oak Planner is going. Now, first off, you can tell that the sizes are different. This was totally on me. I didn't realize in the flurry of trying to figure out my 2025 functional planner that I in fact have a B size in the Passion Planner and an A5 is what I ordered for the Hemlock and Oak. That's completely on me. I will let you know there are 3 different sizes for the Passion Planner. I believe this is the medium size. There's a smaller and a bigger size in this. And the Hemlock and Oak has a B5 and an A5. So I could have really made a one-to-one size transition, but I didn't. I overlooked that and I got the A5. But in the end, it ended up working fine for me, and I'll show you guys why later. Now, I want to start off with a blank page for the Passion Planner. Again, it is a vertically laid out planner and has space around for you to kind of do as you please, and also has a little space on top right there. Now, if you see a Hemlock and Oak planner weekly here, also vertically laid out and has space around to do as you please. Now, the part that really makes a difference for maybe a planner like me or you is, let me zoom in a little bit. You will see at the very top, it specifies, where is it? Today's focus. It really defines or tries to guide you in how to use each space. Whereas the Hemlock and Oak, it has the same space, but it doesn't define like anything for you. It's very free, a lot more flexible. So that is the first reason why I decided to transition to this. I didn't want to have that guidance anymore. I said it in one of my videos that I think a passion planner is a great first time beginner planner because it has that guidance. I think it's really important because when you start off straight with nothing to kind of help you through a process of planning, that's very helpful. But I do think when you feel more comfortable, you know what you like, the flexibility of this it was more attractive for me. The second thing that was really important to me that I realized into my planner journey is that for functional planning, the paper quality is very important. Now you can see up here, I have my little Hobonichi cousin, and everybody knows the Hobonichi cousin Sterling ink is the Tomo River paper. It's very thin. It's very, it's a special type of paper that you don't see everywhere. The Passion Planner, in my opinion, is thicker than most notebook papers or 8x11 printer paper. It's thicker than that, which I love. But for functional planning, I don't like the TRP. I really like this extra thick paper. And it turns out, not only does the Hemlock and Oak give me more flexibility in the way it's laid out, but the paper is very, very thick as well. So to me, it was a very good, very easy transition in that almost a lot of the things were the same, but it had a little bit more, it had little differences that I think I would prefer. I want to give a quick preview of the way I used to do my passion planners. I time block. I like to color coordinate with the stickers I have. I add washi. I did like some to-dos at the bottom, and then I did have habit trackers that I actually cut out from the Passion Planner website. They have these for free if you're interested. But this is how I used to do it. And I would write a focus of the day on top, some good things that happened during the week. This was a very typical Passion Planner layout for me, a layout that really worked for me and I loved it. And you can also see that I used to journal in between my time blocking here. Okay, so the Hemlock and Oak, how's this going? A few things that are different, obviously. The size. Now, why I say this is working for me in the end is because there are times in the Passion Planner where I felt like, man, my stickers just aren't big enough. Or I don't have hand lettering that can be huge and pretty to fill up space. I just didn't have that. So the A5 has actually worked for me because I feel like it feels very filled out, and I think maybe this is the right size for me then, because I don't usually buy those big stickers. I don't have pretty hand lettering that can just really fill up the space and look beautiful. So this size has actually worked really well for me. Now, I did do tabs if you guys saw me set it up, so this is different. The first time I've ever used tabs. Is it really necessary for me right now? Like, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, my life has changed because now I have tabs, because actually the Hemlock and Oak has, these these things that really, if you really cared to know immediately where you're at, they have these for you. So I don't know if the tabs are necessary, but I did want to try it out, so I have it. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. I decorated it with never underestimate the big importance of small things. I think functional planning is all about the small things in life. Some people think, oh man, I don't have enough going on to even have a planner. But I think if you're able to, write it all out, you'll know that these all small things that seem like a not big deal to you, that's all part of your life. And that's kind of how I decided to approach functional planning this year. I am going to start off with my January. So January is done. I just decided, let me zoom in, to decorate it with a theme. All blue, January's cold. Very simplistic theme, you guys. I didn't think too hard about what color I'm gonna do, just the fact that it's cold and it's gonna be blue. I just did, big words of things that happened during the month. That's how I think I'm gonna do the rest of this section of this planner. The next is the quarterly section. So I told you guys I'm going to make this kind of a book journal. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So I filled this out, if you recall, with my Taylor Swift theme. The second part I did not fill out because I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this, and I wanted the ability to change it the second half of the year if I felt like the first part wasn't working out. So I left that blank. But what I'm using this for is my reading log. And personally, I'm not the type of person that cares how many pages was in a book. I don't care how long it took me to read a book. Or, I also don't have like a reading goal where I'm trying to do 50 or 100 books in a year. That's not important to me. But I wanted to see what books I read this year because I never remember when I read what. I really don't. And I thought it might be interesting to see. So I've read 3 books so far. Well, 2 really, because let me zoom in a little bit further. This first book I read was Dolly, My Life and Other Unfinished Business. It's by Dolly Parton. It's an autobiography. And it just, I know she's an amazing person and I really wanted to get to know her, but it just wasn't interesting for me. I would say a big portion of the front part of the book is about her childhood. And while I do want some background, I kind of wanted to know more about when she started going in the business, because I think that's kind of, I don't know, just what I was more interested in. I know for her, that was probably a bit more pivotal moment, maybe her childhood, how she grew up, but it just wasn't super interesting for me. And it was a big chunk of the book, so I did not finish it. So I gave up, I guess, right there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. The second book I read was The Frozen River by Ariel Lohan. I love this book. I finished it pretty quickly. And then the third was, oh shoot, I think it's James, not James. I should add an S right there. James by Percival Everett. I took it on vacation, so it took me a little bit longer, but I finished it, and this is kind of when I finished it. And that's how I'm going to do the rest of this book journal. Right now I'm reading A Man Called Ove, so we'll see how long that takes. I have not been speed reading. I usually do, but I'm just kind of taking things slow. And these books are not, well, this one kind of was, The Frozen River. They're not page-turner mysteries. So I don't find myself reading to the wee hours of the night trying to figure out what's happening. But this is how I've been doing it here. And to kind of tie in with this, I do have a TBR that I set up over here. I decided to color code it. Brown is fiction and the dark orange is nonfiction. So whenever I see suggestions from people that I think are interesting books that I would like to read, I decided to write it on here. Now, if I go beyond this page, I'll be very surprised, and I'm gonna say I shouldn't keep adding to this if I can't even read all these. So we'll see how this goes, but this is how I've started my TBR. So this is the first thing that hasn't really worked for me. I wanted to do like an activity of the day that really stood out to me. But because I'm doing something very similar in my Hobonichi cousin, I realized like I don't have that much to say the rest of the month. So I want to figure out a different way to use the February month. Now, one of the limitations of having so many planners is there's chunks of it that are crucial to your planning, and then there's other superfluous parts of it. Well, it becomes superfluous to you because you have so many planners where the other planner has the same thing and you're already using it. So I think this has become one of those areas, the functional planning monthly part. Now, I never use the monthly section in my passion planner, and I always thought the limitation was because in the passion planner, it's not lined. It's just like a blank space. And although I love that it's lined in the Hemlock and Oak, I haven't really found something that's meaningful, like a meaningful way to use the monthly section. So I'm going to rethink how I want to do it for February. Now, before I get into the weekly section, which is really the bread and butter of this whole planner for me, I want to go back to the January review or overview. So let me zoom out. Every month has this, a monthly overview. So something you do prior to the month beginning, and then it has a review after the month is done. I don't typically do this, or I don't really care for this because I feel like the Hobonichi cousin is what my like journaling is for. It has so many pages for that I didn't really think I had much to say in here, but I tried it out. I still want to try it. So I did do it before January. Like if I look back, planners and journals were definitely something I focused on. Face masks. I did really try face masks, and I think for February, skincare is going to be a big deal for me. And I did bring out my gloves for washing dishes for self-care. I kept up with YouTube, my family vacation, my 10-year anniversary. So I think it's good to have that for this planner. I'm going to do it for February. I'm going to keep it up just to see what I can do. I mean, it's not a lot of effort, so to me, it wasn't a big deal. This side, I left it blank. I just didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to add stickers for no reason. I didn't have anything to write, so, I kept it blank. All right, so let's go to January. My first Hemlock and Oak. I was nervous on this one, guys. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but let me reopen my passion planner to say it looks very similar. Okay, I have my time blocks already set. These are things that I consider non-negotiable and specific to that time slot, the time slot laid out here. So that's how I differentiate a time block. I did do habits in the bottom, whereas I have habits on this little printout I have on the passion planner. I decided to do it in the bottom here. If you guys want to see what my habits are that I find important for myself is I try not to do social media at all the first thing I wake up. A lot of times, actually for many, many years, I would always grab my phone, look at Instagram, look at TikTok, look at Daily Mail, all that stuff. And sometimes it would be really great news. Sometimes it would be really terrible news. And sometimes it would make me feel FOMO instantly. And I just felt like whether good or bad, the extremes of emotions, I felt the first thing I did when I woke up, even before I put on my glasses, before I brushed my teeth, before I saw my kids, I didn't like how I felt the rest of the day when I was immediately starting my morning with an extreme emotion, whether good or bad. So I decided not to do social media in the morning. When I grab my phone to look at any of that, it's when my kids are off at school, my husband left to work, and I'm just settling down with my coffee to like kind of start my full day. I don't like to do it the moment I wake up anymore, and it's actually been really good for my mental health because I feel like my mind is stabilized and I'm starting off positively without extreme emotion. So that's a huge and very important goal for me. I don't do it for the evenings because I can chill a little bit more in my bed. So I don't feel like it changes my mood as much. So I decided to do that for the week. Exercise is always one of them. I try to work out, whether it's on my treadmill and listen to a meeting or I go out of the house for a walk. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to drink more water and of course, no PM snacks after dinner. I love to, eat chips. That's my Achilles heel, and I'm really trying not to do that. So I would say the thing that's really different is you don't see that journal writing in between. My Hobonichi cousin is taking up all my journaling. I just don't have anything to say anymore. So I'm not going to do it here. And instead, what I do is actually what I used to do is like this week, on the Friday, the week before, all the things I didn't get to or I know is an upcoming task, I would jot it down here and then I would check it off depending on where I get to. But I found after a while that some of my stuff was on every week. Like I wasn't getting to it and it would just sit on the next week's and then on the next week's. So because I don't need to journal anymore in between, and this is a much smaller planner, it's an A5 now, I just don't have that much space. I still do the listing on the left, but I decided to actually, rewrite it in the day I am going to get to it. Like it gives me a little bit more push that I want to do this on this day. So it might be a little bit repetitive, but this is just to list out so I don't forget. And then I like to re-put it during the week to ensure that I get it done. So that's kind of how it's been going. Up here, I did decide to do a focus of the day for this week to see if that's still important to me. It really kind of kept up similarly to the way I've done it before. So that's, to me, it was a very good transition. Like I've always used this ruler to make my time blocks. I get like my markers out and I color it and then I go over with pen. I mean, I'm not really going to test myself and see if I can pen it out and then color over it. It's gonna smear most likely. And if you're worried about that, I'm gonna almost guarantee you guys it's gonna smear. I mean, yeah, there are some pens out there that don't smear and dry really fast, but if you can color it and just write over it, then I don't know. I just feel like that's the safer bet. So that's kind of how I do it. So far it's looking good. I feel like it feels more filled out. I do have some space, but it's not so empty where it feels, strange. I do like to do some stickers. So I got some Wobot stickers I got on sale when the shop was closing. So I kept it very simple. All right, I am going to go over the rest of my pages. So this was my first week. I made it blue and gray. And then the next week, I kept up my focus again, very pink, different colors, different stickers. Oh, this is something different, I guess. If you can see here, I put 60 ounces of water here. I don't know if it's a lot of people's goals to drink water, but it is mine because I just never get thirsty. I just don't get thirsty. I could drink other things. I could drink 1 cup of water, but I never feel like I'm dying of thirst. But I know it's good for you. So I put 60 ounces of water here. But I realized that it was very hard for me to get to a total of 60 ounces. And as a planner who is very serious about checking these habits off, I'm like, well, I only drank 40. I can't check this off. I didn't get to 60. So I started splitting it up into AM and PM water. 30, 30. Like, okay, let me at least see if I'm making the AM goal or the PM goal and see where it is that I'm really not drinking water. So that's why it looks like there's one more there. Again, but very similar. I wrote it down and I put it back into these sections. So this was my pink purple theme. Oh, something I learned is some of these washies keep flipping up and some people just gave me a really good tip to just glue it down. And that's kind of what I did. I started using my glue stick. This one was my green and brown theme. I really like the way this one came out. A little bit different here. Focus word. I decided to forego it and just do washi to see if, I like it better. Again, very similar colors is what I like to do. I'm not super artsy, guys. So when I pick my colors, I actually think of this. I try to think of the washi first and then pick the colors of the marker and then pick the color of the sticker if I can. Or I do sticker first and then basically the sticker is what comes first because the color of the sticker I can't change. But my markers I can change, right? So that's what I've been doing. This one, I was on vacation. I didn't write anything. I could always go back, I guess, and write exactly what we did that day as far as the itinerary goes. But I just decided I'm just going to decorate it, but not worry too much about this one. I'm actually very proud of the way this one came out. I'm not a hand letterer, but let me zoom in. Once upon a time, someone told me to get a white jelly marker and make these little marks and do a little outline. I'm sure I saw it somewhere on Instagram and I like the way it looks, so that's what I did here. And then let me see, is this my last one? Okay, this is the last one of January and it bleeds into February. My very lavender theme, a few stickers. Again, same thing still. Habits, time blocking, checking things off. So I am feeling like this is really working for me. I like it. I've already started filling out the next week. So again, the transition was easy. I was able to take everything I liked from my passion planner to the Hemlock and Oak, and it feels more filled out. Like there's nothing here where I feel like I have so much space I need to do something. Like this passion planner, I mean, not to say I don't have empty space, but you know, I put this in here because I didn't have anything to write here, and I don't like that it's online. So, you know, I do have some space left over here, but for the most part, I like the way it feels filled out. All right, lastly, the January review. Now, I mentioned earlier there's a January overview, which you should probably fill out before January starts, and then something you can fill out for January once it's over. And I just filled this out. The questions are: write down 3 memorable moments this month. What gave you energy? What drained you? So my 10th anniversary, Kauai, and my daughter starting dance class was really memorable for me. Things that gave me energy, and my family gave me energy this month. 2 words that I'm really trying to live by this year is soft and slow. And why I say those things is soft is I feel like sometimes I'm so busy with work, with, you know, getting the kids to bed, getting them to school, starting, you know, getting my husband off to work, making dinner. And it's just, I hate when I get like anxious and I snap at people, and I don't like that about me. So I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to be softer, speak softer with everybody. There's no reason, there's nothing important or crazy enough for me to act that way. Everything, you know, it can take a back seat when it comes to my family and friends. And I don't want to just say that anymore. I want to really try to show that I love them, I care. I don't want to be like mean and snappy to anyone. So I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to be soft and slow. Nothing is worth hurting someone's feelings over, unless you want to, obviously, but, or, you know, or getting somewhere and getting in an accident just because you can't stop yourself from being in a rush, like so bad. So those are 2 words that I'm trying to live by this year. So my family gave me energy. Without getting too much into the details of this, honestly, politics is draining me this month. I'm not going to say who's right or wrong. I don't want to get into that. Honestly, the problem for me is I don't know who's right or wrong. I think both sides are wrong. I think both sides are right on something. So I don't want to get into that. This is not the point of this, but politics is draining me. And the last one is my lesson or growth. I feel like I've put my husband on the back burner for a long time because we've been raising young kids, and I really want to put that front and center this year. I should have done it a long time ago, and this is just for me and strangers on the internet. I really want to make sure I put him first. I make sure that he feels that as well. This side, again, I have nothing to put down. I just don't know what to say. And then, of course, here we see the January overview that I'm going to fill out for the February overview that I'm going to fill out for February. So that is kind of the way it's going. Now, the very, very back, I think there's some empty pages. I haven't been doing anything with it. I don't know if I ever will, to be honest, but I don't do anything with it. So that's how I've been using my Hemlock and Oak planner. What do you guys think? Any feedback? How are you guys using it? Is it similar to the way you're using it? Let me know in the comments. I hope you found today's video helpful. Thank you guys for watching.